Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. I have just a brief statement, a brief announcement, then I'll certainly be available for any questions you might have. But thank you for coming out this morning. Well, I was certainly stunned by the news that our Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, will resign his office at the end of the month. Our Holy Father is a man of great wisdom and holiness, and he has given everything, his heart and his mind, his soul and his strength, to the very difficult task of leading the Church. Our Holy Father's resignation is, I believe, an act of great humility, for the Pope understands that the needs of the Church are greater than his own, that ultimately the well-being of the Church is in God's hands, not the Pope's. I will pray in gratitude for Pope Benedict's service, and also that our Holy Father will now enjoy a time of rest and prayer that he so richly deserves. And in that spirit of prayer, I'm also pleased to announce this morning that there will be a solemn Mass of Thanksgiving for the ministry of Pope Benedict XVI at this Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul on Thursday, February 28th at 12 o'clock noon, which is the final day of our Holy Father's ministry. May God bless Pope Benedict. So any questions you might have, I'll be happy to take them now.
Can you talk to us about the things that he was able to accomplish during his time?
Well, I think in reflecting on the ministry and the life of Pope Benedict, I think his greatest contribution has been his commitment to the new evangelization. As you know, we're in the midst of the Year of Faith, which our Holy Father Pope Benedict has inaugurated. And it's a time for all of us to renew our commitment to Christ and the Church and be proud of our Catholic Christian faith. And I think in the end that will be Pope Benedict's final legacy and commitment to evangelization, to the work of the Church, to having us all renew our faith.
Bishop, how many times did you meet him, and what were your meetings like with him?
I met Pope Benedict a couple of times. First, I'd met him on occasion when he was still the cardinal in the Congregation of Doctrine of the Faith before he was elected Pope, when all the bishops were there for our official visit. I also met him last year during the Ad Limina visit. It was in November of 2011. And it was a wonderful meeting. We had a chance with a small group of bishops to spend some time in conversation with Pope Benedict, and it was very engaging and very, very impressive. So he's a wonderful man, a man of great intellect, a very holy man, wise yet still also very humble. And I think it's that sense of humility that's led him to take this move.
Bishop, I'd like to ask about possible successors. When he was chosen, there at the time was some pressure to perhaps pick a pope from South America or Africa, because those are two of the fastest growing Catholic regions in the world. What are your thoughts on that? Well, of course, it's really far too early to begin to wonder about that, although it's a very natural and obvious question. At this point, the only one who knows who the next pope will be is God, and he hasn't told us yet. But that's the process of the conclave. We firmly believe that when the cardinals go into their conclave sometime in March, we presume, that they'll go through their very serious process of prayer and discernment, but in the end it will be the Holy Spirit who directs the selection of the new pope. Will it be someone from the third world, someone from Europe? Who knows? Only God knows. But it's always interesting to speculate about it, but we really don't know at this point. At these times, there's always questions about changes in church doctrine anytime we get a new pope. Do you foresee any major changes in any doctrine of the Church? No, I don't think so. Remember, the Holy Father's work is to shepherd the Church, to guide the Church, and to build on the foundation he's been given. Now, of course, this new pope, whoever it will be, will respond to the promptings of the Holy Spirit, wherever that might lead him. But no, the Catholic Church is a strong and solid tradition. Our faith has been handed down from the apostles. It goes from one century, from one millennium to the next, and that certainly will continue. So no, I don't think any pope is free to make major changes in dogma or doctrine, although any pope will bring his own style and his own personality. Bishop,
but do you think there were any other factors other than his age and health that may have run into this, any stress of dealing with any of the ongoing controversies and issues?
No, I think what the Holy Father has said, it's his declining health, his declining strength. He is 85, almost 86 years old. As you know, the burdens of that office are enormous in terms of the people he has to meet, the decisions he has to make, the travels that are expected of a pope these days. It's very difficult for anyone, but especially someone of that age. And I think his slow deterioration in health and strength has been noticeable, but I suppose it's just the burdens of office, the tremendous challenges and issues and the travel and the schedule. He deserves a time of rest and prayer and reflection that he's longed for many years. So in his previous writings, he had even hinted about the fact that it was possible for a pope to retire, and that if the time would come when he felt he could no longer fulfill the burdens of his office, he would do that. So in a sense, he had already signaled this. The timing is a great surprise. Nobody was prepared for that.
Yeah, it's still a shock. I mean, we've never seen that happen.
No, they said it's almost 600 years, so yes, none of us have seen that.
What do you think the church will lose by not having him as the pope?
Well, certainly in the retirement of Pope Benedict, the church will lose the leadership of a man with great wisdom and humility and love. He's a very gentle man. You get that sense in meeting him in person. He's a very humble, gentle man who took this tremendous burden on his shoulders, somewhat reluctantly, I believe. But he's fulfilled it beautifully, and with great courage and great wisdom and great love. We're going to miss his leadership, but no doubt whoever replaces him will also be a holy man, a man of great strength. You have to be smart and you have to be holy to be the Pope. So whoever's chosen will certainly have those characteristics.
And it has been 600 years since the last time this happened. How is it for you to be experienced?
Well, I woke up this morning when I first heard the news shortly after 6 o'clock, and I realized instantly it was a historic day. None of us obviously have lived to see something like this. So it's an historic day for all the members of the church and really people throughout the world, and certainly here in the Diocese of Providence. It's an historic moment for us. We've never lived to see something like this, and the transition will be very, very significant.
Bishop, the end of the month comes pretty quickly. We're only about 20 days now. What is the process for the church in the interim before someone else?
Well, the work of the church, of course, will continue unabated. That goes on day to day and year to year, and so that will continue. It won't have any noticeable effect here in the Diocese of Providence. However, we're certainly going to ask everybody to pray for Pope Benedict, for God's blessings and health upon him, and also to pray that the church will be guided by the Holy Spirit as we go into this important process of choosing a new pope. It's an exciting time, an historic time.
Is it possible we could go into Holy Week and Easter without there being a new pope in place?
It's possible, although the speculation I've heard today is that the very fond hope is that there will be a new pope chosen and inaugurated before Easter. But that will happen pretty quickly now.
Bishop, you talked about the burden he faced. Certainly one of the biggest burdens he's had to face, not only before he became pope, but when he was cardinal, was dealing with the sex abuse scandal in the church. How much do you think that weighed on him, and how effectively do you think he dealt with it?
I don't think there's any single issue that's caused him to retire. Certainly that's been on his heart and his mind, his soul. He's been praying for it. It's a burden for him and for all the members of the church. But I don't think there's any single issue. That was one of them, but I think, again, the demands of travel, and not just to respond to crisis, but I think the Pope's understanding that we need to be doing positive things and energetic things and new things to reach out and continue the work of evangelization. I'm sure that's on his heart and mind, as well as responding to any particular crisis or issue. He wants the church to have energetic and strong leadership. He's a leader of 1 billion people with enormous challenges and burdens on his shoulder that he wakes up to every day. So I think what he said about his declining health and strength, I think that's exactly the reason. Yes?
Who will be in charge of the church from the 28th until the conclave? Alexis.
Whoever is chosen to lead the conclave and the work of the church in those days, I'm not exactly sure about the precise mechanics of that. Again, this is new, uncharted waters for all of us, but they said that once the Holy Father resigns on the 28th, that the normal process for electing a new pope will ensue.
Well, it is unique in that he is obviously still alive while all this is happening, so he can perhaps play a role in putting all that together.
Well, I'm sure he will step back. He'll be praying for this process and for his successor, but if we can predict how Pope Benedict will react, he will disappear pretty quickly from the day-to-day operation of the church, and he will, I think, continue to be a man of prayer and reflection. I don't think he will try to insert himself at all into the selection of his successor, but we'll see. It's new for all of us. So thank you very, very much for coming today. God bless you, and pray for all of us during these challenging times. Thank you.